I'm going to talk about something I have been believing for a long time but have said not a whole lot about it. It's about how we need to change how we talk, and especially how we talk about peace. And I entitled this, There is Peace a Plenty. And I'm showing as a background some of my orb pictures. And I will talk of my thoughts about peace. And first of all, I want to say we won't have peace until we know peace in the now. Now let me explain. We will learn how to live in the now. It means that we have to change the way we talk about almost everything. We are gods with the little g, but we can become gods with the big G, and then we can create whatever we wish. But first we must learn how to talk. How many of us know and perhaps sing some crying in your beer kind of song? My baby done me wrong kind of song. I'm so lonesome I could die kind of song. We get kind of off on a roll, recounting all of the things that have gone wrong, so very wrong for us. Actually, it can become a habit to be overcome, because it does not make us feel good. But we could get used to not feeling so good, so we permit ourselves to simply wallow in our pain and sorrow. Sometimes, and it's happened to me, we even learn to enjoy recounting all that is so wrong with ourselves, our lives, our world. We are launching a rocket of desire when we find it almost comfortable to every day recount all of the things we see as wrong. So we occupy ourselves with amusements. We do that because when we get sad over the things we constantly think about, we escape by amusing ourselves. Some of us cope by staying busy so that we won't have time to think. Some of us began to get involved in conspiracy theories, and I know this to be true because I see them on YouTube all the time. Some of us get very angry and want to become militant. But we have not yet learned how to talk. We do not know who we really are. We go about calling things like we see them. Sometimes we even brag that we are someone who calls a spade a spade. We believe that seeing is believing. We don't believe that believing is seeing, but it is the opposite of seeing is believing. And this is why we are still gods with the little g. Walter Russell said in his book, The Secret of Light, "The time has come in the history of man's journey from his material jungle to his spiritual mountaintop when it is imperative that he must live more and more in the cosmic light universe of knowing and less in the electric wave universe of sensing. Man must know that his power lies in the stillness of his centering self and not in the motion by means of which he manifests that stillness. He must know that his self is God in him, for with it comes an awareness of his purposefulness in manifesting the light and the power to manifest it. Man must know the universe of God for what it is, instead of what his senses have made him to believe it to be. This is why I say that we must learn how to talk, also how to walk our talk. And we will learn this. We can learn how to change our perception. When we change our perception, then what we perceive changes. We begin the change in ourselves. We, like God, must call what is not as though it were. It is not that you call what is as though it were not. You don't, for example, say, there was no Holocaust. Instead, you call what is not as though it were. Now, people who like to be involved in peacemaking. They have a song that they love to sing, and I used to sing it with them at the Unity Church. But I got to thinking that maybe the words needed to change. But I will read it to you the way it was sung. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our Father, brothers all are we. Let me walk with my brother in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow, to take each moment and live each moment with peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Now, here's a little psychology. Anytime we say that we want something, what we're also saying is we don't have something. And in the Bible, one of the parts of it that I do take to heart is where it says, let the poor say, I am rich, and let the weak say, I am strong. Because your words are going to be creating for you. So if you put something off in the future, like let there be peace on earth, you're saying it's not now. You're not in the now when you're seeing it and calling it as a future event. This is how a God with a big G talks. He calls what is not as though it were. And he says, my words will not return unto me void, but they will go out there to accomplish all I will. And he looks at all he has created and calls it good. Do we look at all we have created and call it good? Not necessarily all the time do we do that. The peace song that as I would word it, would be this. Yes, there is peace on earth, that peace that resides in me. Peace, yes, peace is everywhere. We called it, and now we see. Knowing God within us, we know there is only one. Knowing God is being God, now we can call it done. Proclaiming peace, an accomplished fact. We know that our words are true. We have a joyous mission now with using our God capacity. To call what is not just as though it were. To live in the cosmic light. Yes, I am one with God. I know it, and now I'm free. The way I changed this was to put everything into the now. Because our words are powerful, and sometimes we don't realize that. Well, I'll put it this way. I used to say to myself, I will be happy when I get all my bills paid. I will be happy when my vacation time is here. And I always put off when I would be happy. And my words were making me unhappy until that time approached. But then I would just make another condition and say, I will be happy when with something else. So be happy in the now. And make your claim that there is peace right now. If there's peace within you, there's peace right now. And there's peace in me. So I'm going to call it for now. Learn to say, I am to what you want. Learn how to talk and know nothing real can be threatened and nothing unreal exists. Therein lies the peace of God. And that is one of the opening words in the book, A Course in Miracles. Because we live in a world that is really actually an illusion, but the things that are real can never be threatened in it, and the things that are unreal don't even exist. The things like that trouble us, like unrest and fear, those aren't real things. They won't continue forever. So we got to quit thinking about them always and letting it be our daily conversation, our mind chatter that goes on all the time. We've got to get out of that habit and just start talking like it's already here. Now, this is a poem that I wrote, back in 1998, at a time when poems just came to me, even though I'm not a poet. But at that year, for some reason, I just got a lot of poems, and they just seemed not to be necessarily things I'd put a lot of thought into. They just kind of came automatically. But this one I call Thoughts Are Things. And I must mention that right before I wrote this poem, a couple of months before it, everyone was talking about El Nino was coming there in that part of California where I lived. The El Nino weather was going to really be bad. They talked about it for months, how bad it was going to be. So people could prepare, for this bad thing that was coming. So I wrote this poem right in the middle of that storm. It lasted several days, a lot of weather conditions that weren't too good. And I wrote, Thoughts Are Things, and this is the poem. I will begin. Thoughts are things, oh don't we know, we can have the words we sow. It seems that man does always say, and the things he says he can have become that way. All this talk about our fear is doing just what Job did. He said, the things I greatly feared has come upon me. What say I to such a thing? Don't greatly fear, it's such a pain. For when we worry and complain, those words we say will have the same. For words are thoughts, and thoughts are things, and we can have the words we say, for saying them brings them our way. And then we are going to fuss some more. Oh, we can talk up such a storm. Our words, you see, can do us harm. Why does God let things happen this way? Why can't God just call a halt and stop this rain? It's all His fault, for nothing happens that is not His will. Why does God wish us ill? The houses are falling from the hills. The streets are turning into rivers. It seems to me that it's we who are the givers of this gift to our own selves, for we are the gods who called for this. Our words, you see, we talked a lot. But we could learn how to talk. For when we say, when we predict, when we expect, when we lament, we're calling things like we see them, and calling things like we expect them. But that's not the talk of a God such as God our Creator is, for God called things that were not as though they were. Didn't God say, let there be? And there was. Know ye not that ye are gods? We are creators too. Everyone talks about the weather, but no one does anything about it. This saying, is halfway true, for talk we do. And if we would learn how to talk, then we could do something about the weather too. I wish people of this earth would know that we can have the things we fear. Fear is a thought, and thoughts are things, and things have a way of getting together, enough of them, and we have matter. Oh, what is the matter? Don't ask me, I don't want to call it. I just want to observe it. I know better. I'm learning fast not to call things good or bad. I'll just observe. I'm quite detached. I have no expectations. For we can have the things we expect. For expectations are thought, and thoughts are things, and things create the reality we see. And I know this of myself. I don't always know what everything is for. I don't always see the purpose for everything that happens. So I will just observe. And yes, I'll talk. I'll talk of things that are lovely and things that are of a good report. If there be any virtue, if there be any praise, I'll talk of these things. And I'll call things that are not as though they were. For thoughts are things, and things create our reality. We are the thinker thinking. Let's think about what we are thinking about. Let's observe our own words. Did not we learn about the tongue? It's just a little member of the body. And yet, if we could control it, then we could have anything we wished. And bite our tongues, if we have to keep them from calling it like we see it, calling it like we expect it, calling it like we fear it. If we don't have anything good to say, we just won't say. That's the way we'll save the day. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. I believe in my heart that I am pure and holy, that I can look with eyes of love. I'll just bless everything and call it holy. For all is God. I'll bless the process, for our mistakes are our opportunities to see ourselves, to learn how to call things, to call them blessed, and to rejoice always. Rejoice in all things, for rejoicing is a thought, and thoughts are things, and things create heaven or hell. Oh, I didn't write anything on that one. So, this is just what I wanted to talk about today, about how we need to change how we talk. And even though it sounds like something that might make people think, well, that's silly. Think about how little children play a pretend game, and they get real happy. They're pretending, they're playing as if something is, and they're making little conversations and having a very good time. And there was a story about a little girl. Her father told her he would get her a playhouse with dolls and furniture and everything. And so she knew right where she would set it up, but she hadn't gotten it. She didn't know when she'd get it. But she set up a place in her room, and her father noticed just what she was doing. And she said, this is where I'm going to set the little dollhouse that you're going to get me. And then there was no way he couldn't get that dollhouse for her. Even if he had changed his mind, he couldn't do that, because now he knew she expected it would be. She had faith, and she went ahead and pretended she already had it. She already had it set up. She knew where everything would be. And it's that way with our consciousness, our Father, our sense of the one who listens to us and what it is that we desire. If we don't always just wait till we see it to believe it, if we will believe, then we will see. If we will pretend, sometimes it's pretending like a little child, and say the words, there's peace now. There's peace in me, and that's where all peace begins anyway. And peace begins within the individual, and then it spreads out to the family, and then from the family to the community, and from the community to the state, and then to the country, and to the world. But it begins with ourselves. So, this ends my little talk about peace. This is the Dove Lady, over and out for now. Bye-bye.